What's up, Wastelanders? How's everybody doing today? I'm doing great, and I hope you are too. It's me, Kiki B. Welcome to a brand new episode of Kiki B Plays Fallout 76. It's official, I have done it, folks. I have beaten the game, and now it's time for me to retire. I'm not sure how I could ever top this, so I'm done. No, I'm kidding. I can absolutely top this, and I've already got something in the works because I have not run out of ridiculously impressive builds yet. This week I decided to jump onto Lucy Jane Plays and Vladministrator's Teeny Tiny Challenge because it looked like a blast and the shipping container is absolutely perfect for it. Now, you will need a couple of other Atomic Shop items for this build, namely either of the catwalk sets, and any build set that has unique roofs included. I've listed the options down in the description so you can check if you have one. And I want to say a very special thank you to my buddy Aaron because today's build was his idea and I ran with it and took things way too far because that's what I do. Before we dive into, or maybe off of, my insane creation, if you love what I do here and are interested in supporting this fantastic little channel, why not join our Patreon family? Head on over to patreon.com/KikiB or click on that link down in the description to find out more and learn how you too can have your name in the credits of my videos, and who wouldn't want that? And of course, join us over on Instagram at KikiBPlays, we would love to see you there. Okay, we're ready to go, so shove down that crippling fear of heights that's bubbling up in your gut right now and let's get building. If you haven't seen it before, there's this absolutely massive mining crane just outside of Welch, and we're going to be using it to hang a shipping container from to build our teeny tiny camp about 8 stories above the ground because who needs ground in their camp? Not us! Now, if this suddenly becomes a popular spot, there is another one of these cranes in the trash heap somewhere, but I can't remember where it is anymore, so go look for it and tell us in the comments. I'm lazy. If you're not familiar with the Teeny Tiny Challenge, the rules are pretty simple. You get 2 foundations, which is the exact size of a shipping container, and it needs to contain at least a bed and a cooking station. I decided that was not enough for me, so I crammed in 4 crafting benches, the bed, a sofa, 2 tables, 2 chairs, a fridge, scrap and stash boxes, 2 vendors, some plants, a water cooler, and a crap ton of decor. This is me we're talking about. So anyway, climb up the crane, there's this lovely staircase here, and place your camp module a couple of stories below the top, like this, to make sure that you have enough room to work. This is the exact spot on the map, by the way. Now, we're almost ready to start building, but before we do, we're going to need a special blueprint, and we can't make it here because there's no place to put a foundation. So switch to another camp slot, and we're just going to blueprint a single wall piece, and make a column blueprint if you don't already have one, using 2 stacked columns and a small floor object. Which brings us to today's sponsor, Appalachian Blueprint Glitches. If you're looking for an easy yet ridiculous-looking way to build a camp that's not just a giant, half-empty box made of vault or barn walls, turn to the good folks at Appalachian Blueprint Glitches. Their professional expertise and unique custom solutions will get you up and running in no time, allowing you to make the camp of your dreams a reality today. Appalachian Blueprint Glitches. You literally can't do it without them. Sorry, I had to. So now let's wiggle our favorite column blueprint into place up here, with one of the indented signs facing the pulley wheel. Poor old Jim here, he just wanted to take a smoke break in peace. See, smoking is bad for you kids. Now we're going to snap some full-length columns underneath Jim's final resting place here. Unfortunately, you can't see it super well, because, you know, there's a giant piece of mining equipment in the way. But anyway, you're going to need to hold down the build button and push the columns away from you to get them over to the snapping points as you go down. I went down 4 columns, but you might be able to go lower if you wanted your container to hang down a little more. I just don't know firsthand if you can actually push the columns far enough away, so continue at your own risk. Once you've gone down as far as you like or are able, you're going to push a quarter catwalk over and snap it to the bottom of the column of columns, facing in toward the pulley wheel. Next comes a full-length catwalk, followed by a stomach-lurching leap of faith with no cushy wagon of hay waiting at the bottom in case you screw it up. So go back up to the top and jump off, attempting to hit your catwalk on the way down and hoping you don't die if you miss. It's time now to pull out that single wall blueprint and snap that onto the long piece of catwalk so that the wall is hanging down, and then back that ass up onto the tiny catwalk so you can delete the long one, leaving you with this lovely floating bit of wall that you're now going to attach a roof to. So this is where you need any of those roof sets with multiple types, and stick a flat one from one of those sets on here. Make sure to turn it sort of sideways with the edges that stick down perpendicular to the wall, so that when you go to change it to a sloped roof, it looks like this. If you listened and you did it right, Then you'll be able to crouch down now and reach underneath to remove the wall. Now change it back to a flat piece and go ahead and remove the posts and catwalk and snap a second roof piece on. You just might want to stand on your first roof piece while you do this. Now we want to build some scaffolding out around these two roof pieces so that we can move around and work. So go ahead and build a sort of rectangular ring all the way around. Now you can set your shipping container on the two center roof pieces and adjust it so that it's centered nicely on there. So now you have a magical shipping container floating in midair, and if that was the vibe we were going for, we'd be done. But it's not, so let's get off our lazy butts and keep going. Now that that's done, we need a little doorstep on the front, so take your big square vault rubber mat, and you'll notice that Bethesda has very kindly given you the option of placing things on the floor of the shipping container or underneath it. We're going to go with underneath for this bit, so the mat will be resting on the roofs, making it look very nice indeed, almost like a piece of sheet metal that you welded to the bottom of the container or something. Heading up on top of the container, it's time to make it look like it's actually hanging from the crane. We're going to stack up some tables because it makes it much easier to reach everything, and jump up on them so that we can attach a couple of conduits to the underside of Jim's break room up there. I've actually stuck them in the wrong spot here by a little bit, and we'll be adjusting them later, so take it with a grain of salt. Now we're going to stack up some tall stash boxes. Stuff like the filing cabinet or the lockers will do, but I like the tall metal cabinet best for this. So I'm going to make a little tower out of these and then turn it so that the back is facing me. Now we need a small wall sign, and pretty much any will do as long as it's small, because it will disappear into the side of the container later on, so you won't actually see it. I'm just going to take this Emmett Mountain one and pop 4 of them on here. Then we're going to take a wall conduit, whatever type you like, but I think the bottle cap one looks perfect here, so use that if you have it. And put one on each sign. Now wire the top 2 to the farthest conduit, and the bottom 2 to the one closest to you. See, there's that adjustment, that's much better. Then just pick one up by the sign, set it in the same place once, and then pick up the sign again, and you'll be able to move it wherever you like without worrying about wire length or intersection. We're going to attach these to the corners of the container, and if we put them right over the black spots on each corner, the sign gets lost underneath this very lazy hitbox, and all you're left with is the conduits looking like they're just attached to the container. Just finish doing that with the rest, pick up the sign, place it in place, and then move it to the corner. And when you're done, you can just scrap the tables and cabinets, and damn, that looks good now. Now it's time to put an optional wall in the opening, so if you want to do this step, you'll need a blueprint of a wall, catwalk, and small floor item for this. Sorry, I forgot to include this at the beginning. Make sure that your rubber mat doorstep is already exactly where you want it before you do this, or you will have to remove the wall later to adjust it again. So pop that in the opening, and even if it shows red, you can almost always still place it. Now remove your floor object and catwalk and change the wall type if you want. You can go ahead and put a door in, and again, that's optional. I really want this elevator door, which it won't actually let me place, but if you have the Nuka-Cola, fireplace, or painting secret doors, you can place one of those and change it to the elevator door after. The elevator door is super annoying and buggy, but it just looks so good here that it's worth the hassle of actually trying to use it. Now let's get some electricity up here, which is super easy since there are already conduits all over our house. Just jump up on the roof and stick a little generator right next to one of the corners like this and wire it up. You might also want to run a wire from one end of the container to the other along the side here, otherwise you will have a small dead spot around the middle of your door where there's no power. Okay, now it's time to show you one of the coolest things about this camp. Because there is no actual ground or foundations or anything else that the game can think of to put you on when you fast travel here, if you fast travel over after the camp has loaded, it will place you right inside the shipping container because that's the only surface it can recognize when you're literally hanging in midair. So it's very easy to get into your house without having to climb up the crane and drop onto the roof every time. Yes, I know, it is amazing. So now that we're done building, it's time to remove our scaffolding, which you do by changing the roof types and deleting them. But if you want to decorate the outside, do that part first. Then go ahead and decorate the inside. Now, to make this itty-bitty interior more livable and save some space, you'll probably want to do some merging to combine furniture. I made a custom sofa/bed by merging a sleeping bag and a sofa, and since the placement on that is a little fiddly, I figured I'd just walk you through that real quick. I didn't try every single sofa there is, but I did try a few, and this was the only one that worked for me. I went with the standard sleeping bag here, but you can use any style you like, and you'll have to wiggle it around quite a bit. By the way, if you put the unzipped end on this side of the sofa, you'll sleep facing outward with your head at this end, which I personally think looks the most normal. Otherwise, if you put it at the other end, you'll be sleeping with your face like in the back of the couch. So get that in place and then take it over to your pressure plate and merge it down in. When that's done, you can click on the sleeping bag to lie down, or on the back of the sofa to sit. So now that we've got our house built and our sleeper sofa ready, let's take a look at the finished thing. I left one floating roof piece out here so you could get a good view of the front. We've got a cute sort of tiny front porch with a couple of plants and a mailbox, and this was the only place I could come up with to fit a punch card machine. Still not sure if I like it here, but sometimes I need it. Anyway, heading inside our buggy door is the coziest, clutteriest house I've probably ever built. The wall shelves absolutely saved me here, and I would never have known that you could actually fit a scrap box on one if I hadn't been desperate enough to try. I managed to fit 2 workbenches and a nice little vendor area on this side, and I love the way it looks. On the other side, we've got armor and cooking stations, some storage and kitchen stuff, and a couple of pegboard weapon racks with tools on them. We even have a source of purified water and a little fire alarm next to the stove. By the way, the unintended smoky effect on the stove is great. It's the fiery part of the armor workbench underneath the cabinet, and it worked out perfectly. More wall shelves, more storage, and some fresh frog legs to cook up for dinner later. This little mind the gap thing over the door here was Mr. B's idea. Moving on to the spacious open plan living and dining area, we have more decor than you could even begin to take in. I really wanted to pack every inch of this place as full of stuff as I could. If I ever lived in a tiny house, it would probably look a lot like this because I have way too much stuff and my autistic brain refuses to let me part with any of it. Unfortunately, the planetarium lamp isn't working, again. But according to my oldest, it looks stupid in here when it is. So maybe that's for the best. I personally disagree. I have managed to cram the smallest fridge into this little corner, along with a dining set and some plants, because plants make every house look more like a home. Just soak in all that cluttered goodness there. The lighting in here is really warm and glowy, so at night it looks unbelievably cozy, and it really brings out the yellow of the container. Up on the roof, I created a simple little patio area. Later, I changed one of the chairs to a banjo because I'd forgotten to cram a theremin into the interior, but that's fine. I did decorate the outside of the container with some neon signs and such, mostly to make it clear from down below that this is actually a house, but I forgot to get some nice camera shots of that, so a still of it will have to do. Also, this place is pretty visible. I was doing a real blast over in Welch yesterday, and I was really happy to be able to easily see my little yellow house in the distance while I was murdering mole miners. And there's nice views from up here, by the way, if you think smoke and ash are nice. So that's it from me today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and you've turned on channel notifications so you don't miss out on my future attempts at topping this incredible build. If you liked this and are considering supporting this channel, check out that Patreon link down in the description, and of course, join us over on Instagram. And with that, folks, take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and I will see you in the next video.